As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, soon to be Bros and Shows. Trying to work it in there so we all get used to it, not just the listeners, but myself as well. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Bros Show McGross. Bros and Shows McGross.
Gross.
Well, how do I do that with Shooter?
I don't
I'll work
think
on
it
it.
changes anything, does
That
it?
changes everything.
It shouldn't change anything.
That's
My
what-
name doesn't change.
That's what rebrands are. You change everything.
I suggested last week that we do a full rebrand of our personalities too,
Okay.
and you weren't on board with that. So why would you change my name?
Well, what to that point, let's dip into that briefly, and then we'll get to RHOSLC, because here's the thing: I need a little lightheartedness before we get into this one.
Yep.
So let's go with that. Talk to me about what would we rebrand personality-wise, because this will also give me insight into what you think my personality is. How would I rebrand my personality? Less emotional,
Yeah, less emotional all around. Just more of a robot.
top to bottom.
Yeah, you would just study for, a good couple of months how the guys, the husbands on Salt Lake do,
Okay.
and become a robot.
Hey, way to make it pertinent to what we're talking about. Nicely
What
done.
we do here.
Full circle.
My new personality will be making things pertinent instead of driving us away from other things.
Okay, that's good. But you made what my new personality is, so I'm going to make yours.
Okay, fair enough.
Although, no, I guess I did say less emotional. So you just did the same exact thing I did.
Yep.
Maybe less nitpicky for me as
Okay.
well. For you, shave your mustache. I feel like that is your
That
personality.
would, yeah. Oof,
I don't want you to do that.
that would change my whole life.
I don't think we'd be friends.
My girlfriend would leave me. My parents
Definitely.
would probably unadopt me.
I would. We should just start spinning false narratives about your past.
Yeah.
So nobody knows what's true and what's not.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, and what his actual legal name is, maybe if you've heard what I've said in the past, you don't know if that's true or not.
Paul Johnson.
Yep, Randy Johnson. That's his name. But like I said, we're here to talk about
JT Thomas.
Jade. Oh boy, yeah, I get to go to the Southern Charm premiere on Thursday. Shooter will be in Europe, so he's not going to join me. I'm going solo, and I am hoping and praying that I see JT there. I will go up to him on your behalf.
Yep.
And just say your biggest fan, Shooter, says hi. Because JT knows who we are. JT had our video taken off of TikTok because he's a little...
Videos, I think.
Yeah, was it two?
Well, it was the same video like 6 times.
That's right.
Yeah.
He kept going back at it, and I kept posting it. We ended up winning. It's still up there. And yeah, he's just a little bitch boy, so hopefully he's there so I give him a big old handshake or lean down and give him a hug.
Yeah.
Get down on one knee so I can
needs a
get
hug.
face to face with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. Well, I'll let you guys know. I'm going to bring my phone. I'll take videos and maybe talk to some people. I don't know. I've never done anything like this before. Neither of us have. So, and you're making me do it alone. It's fucking mean.
So funny, too. It's like, if it was the night before, I'd be like, "Oh, all right, I got to do it. It's okay. My flight leaves like right when the party starts.
Really?
Yeah.
So I figure like someone's got to be there. Like Ryan Bailey, like he's in New York now. Like
Yeah.
somebody's got to be there that I know, so I don't feel. I'm gonna be really awkward because I also can't do the thing where you like hang out and I'll just like get a buzz and like see what's up. I'll be
Yeah.
stone cold sober alone.
Oof. Is that like the new version of Naked and Afraid?
Yeah,
Sober
stone
and
cold
alone.
sober and alone is the new Naked and Afraid. Yeah, when you're at a party and you don't have the buffer of alcohol.
Yeah, or
you
friends.
don't know anybody or friends. You're literally sober and alone, starring Steele Russell. That's what the next episode. I'll have my own episode next week,
Yeah.
and it's just me with a video camera recapping the party called
Yeah.
Sober and Alone.
Yeah, and we'll have all the recaps. We've got it all planned out. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about us. I'm going to bring all my stuff to London, to Amsterdam, wherever I am. I'm going to pop on and make sure the baby birds are fed.
Humble brag. Yeah, don't worry, baby birds. You are always at the top of our list of priorities, and we want to make sure you have content. So it's going to be an absolutely miserable week for us getting all of this done. I think we got like 8 episodes in the next 5 days, but we wouldn't have it any other way. We're not taking a break because he's going to gallivant in Europe. Did we take a break when I went to Italy? No.
Nope.
I was editing in Rio Major.
Humble brag.
Yeah, I had to do it too. I'd been places.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, We're here to talk about RHOSLC, and I'm glad we started off on a light note because this was one of the heaviest episodes of Bravo I think everyone's seen. I'm not going to lump it into just me because of my sobriety journey, but I think everyone that saw this had a big impact on them as well, which I think is really incredible. And I'm not going to talk about this scene until the end of the episode because I do have a lot to say about it. I thought it was incredible what Mary and Robert Jr. were able to do and the strength and courage that it took. But the funny part of this episode as a whole, everything other than that scene was just comedy. I was laughing the whole episode.
Yeah.
And then you get there and it took obviously a different turn. I'm glad it did. But this was a good episode of TV.
It really was. And there was a lot of foreshadowing around that scene at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They sort of led us into it. And I had the thought to myself, do I want to just get it out of the way just to start the episode with it? Or do I want to have my hand held all the way through and say, all right, we're gearing up for it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then you already know what happens because Andy last week at FanFest had already said that it's one of the heaviest scenes that he's ever seen on Bravo television or television as a whole. I would agree. It was devastating. It was a crazy, just silence watching it all the way through. But I would agree. The rest of the episode, you would have no idea that we were about to get hit like that.
No.
I mean, we knew it was coming otherwise, but during that episode, it was lighthearted. It was fun. They're just taking jabs at each other.
I loved it.
It was insane. There's nothing too crazy heavy. Nobody's getting like kids and stuff involved.
There's nothing heavy. It's all
just
bullshit.
dumb bullshit, and they're all mad at each other, and I love it.
It's like prime chaos when you get a group that's just, for whatever reason, because I can't point to one actual reason.
No.
For whatever reason, they're just not getting along. Some people don't want to get along. It's conflict of interest. It's people spinning stories. It's mainly that. It's mainly people going by their own account or truth, but that's not actually what happened.
Yeah.
But let's jump in, and we start out with Heather and Whitney, and they're planning a little campfire gathering. Not one of my favorite themes that we've done thus far.
No.
I thought this was
lazy.
This was lazy. This was shoddy work at best.
Mhm.
I didn't appreciate it just because they seem to have Girl Scout sashes that could or could not be real. I don't know if they're theirs of
not.
old.
Maybe.
Probably just costumes. But I thought
we're gonna just roast a couple of marshmallows and
this is
talk about
weird.
it.
You're at like one of those parks with a gazebo.
Uh-huh.
Just it honestly looked like a rest stop.
Yeah.
Like they stopped on the side of the highway like this'll do. It's lazy.
They didn't even do like an egg catch.
They did a potato sack
I know.
race, which apparently
Trust fall.
the Mormons, that was more
Bring it back.
interactive the last year. Was that 2 years ago?
That was last year, yeah.
When they did the group building exercises. That was more interesting than this. I will say this, and we're not there yet, but just to comment on potato sack races being invented by the Mormon.
Mhm.
Mormon. By the Mormon.
I'd be the Mormon.
The Mormon.
John Smith.
Joseph Smith.
Oh,
Yeah, come on now. You want to get into this?
nope.
Damn it. That I believe.
Yeah.
I definitely believe that they were sitting around like, what should we do? It's like, a potato sack race after we soak for a while would be pretty dope. So, makes sense. We'll get to, we had a lot of soaking this episode. We've been talking about it for years.
I know. We did have a lot of soaking. We got everybody involved in that conversation, and I was here for it. I was locked in.
I learned something new, too, I didn't know. But we'll wait for that, too. Let's get back to business here. And as Heather and Whitney point out, things are tense amongst a lot of the group. I will also say this. The way that Heather types is insane. Did you see that?
Chaotic.
It was one finger.
I know.
I know people do the one finger sometimes. She was typing a full paragraph with one finger.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Use your thumbs. What are we doing?
I don't know.
I'm glad you noticed
Opposable thumbs.
it drove me nuts.
We have them.
Thank you. But they're talking about Mary's house and what happened at her luncheon and the Whitney and Meredith thing. Like, how are we going to be in the same room together? Alluding to her grabbing her phone. Things got a little tense there. And I honestly forgot about that because I was like, oh, what are they feuding about? And I was like, oh, I guess just because she grabbed her phone. Was that what else was going on with those two?
That's pretty much it,
Right?
from what I gather.
Okay.
That's all I got.
So again, a lot of tension amongst the group, but a lot of them are very trivial. And Whitney seems to think, and Heather agrees, that the reason that Meredith has all of these problems is because she didn't do arts and crafts as a kid.
Yeah.
We can't say it's not true.
Macaroni art.
We can't say it's not true. Because I did arts and crafts as a kid, and I don't have these problems.
Yeah.
Did you?
No,
You didn't do arts and crafts?
didn't have those problems.
Oh, okay, cool. I was going to say that explains a lot.
No, I mean, it's just a classic Whitney line. Like, you think that maybe she's going to spit something out that actually makes sense?
No,
It's arts and crafts.
Never. It's arts and crafts is a problem. But the big thing that comes out of this scene is Heather and Bronwyn still. And regardless of the fact, or despite the fact that Heather and Bronwyn had made up at this party, or seemingly so, and we knew it was kind of a half-assed apology and acceptance of an apology or whatever the fuck happened between these two, Heather still thinks that she's two-faced, still thinks that she's sneaky, doesn't really trust her, which is just ironic. And anytime that's the argument that any housewife has, especially on this show where everyone's a hypocrite, that's my whole point. It's like, you're all doing this. You're all hypocrites. So why are you holding her to this double standard?
I don't really get it, especially because Bronwyn earlier in the season called them out for doing that. And that's the first time that we have seen a housewife call everybody out for doing the same thing. And it's really just housewife behavior. And at the end of the day, it's a classic apology for a housewife. Neither is actually sorry for their role in whatever they did. They both walked away from it thinking that the other one's two-faced. And that's kind of where we stand. I think what it boils down to is Heather definitely sees Bronwyn as a threat.
Definitely.
Whereas Bronwyn looks at Heather as, I don't really care what you do. You know what? We have to be in the same room together. I don't want you just constantly pulling shit up on me, making comments about me. I'd rather just kind of let the animosity die. But at the end of the day, I really don't care about you. Heather is looking at Bronwyn saying, well, she's, getting in with Lisa. She's getting in with everybody else. It seems like she's getting along. She's rich. She's got a rich husband, blah, blah, blah. Like, it just seems like Heather has taken up so much more real estate in her own mind about Bronwyn than Bronwyn has for her.
So Bronwyn's taking up real estate in Heather's head.
Yes.
Heather's taking up more real estate in her head as
I tried to twist the words to make it make sense, and it
close.
did, but I
close.
knew I was wrong as soon as I started.
It was
I just
close.
didn't feel like restarting, you know?
I appreciate the effort. But we move on from there and we get Meredith. What I would give to live in the world that Meredith lives in, or to live in the world that Lisa Barlow lives in, where your truth is the truth, no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter what happened. It will be spun to fit your narrative to make yourself feel better about whatever the hell happened. And she's talking about Mary's once again, and she's at the, which is a horrible name for a gallery, the Relevant Art Gallery.
Yeah.
That sounds like,
I thought it said Revenant.
yeah, that would be better.
I think it did say Revenant.
Is it Revenant?
I don't know. What'd you write
I thought
down?
it was Relevant. I wrote Relevant.
Revenant would be a lot better.
Revenant's
Do
better.
we want to give them credit, or it's up to you?
I'm just going to go ahead and not do my due diligence here and say that
Relevant.
Relevant's lazy.
Yeah, Relevant is lazy.
Revenant makes me think that it's all artwork based around Leonardo DiCaprio fighting a bear, which I'm cool with.
Yeah.
And it is in Utah.
Yeah?
I don't know if the Revenant was, but
Let's
it's
go
in a
with that.
mountain.
No, they were in, like, Alaska.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mountains.
Okay.
Yeah, we're same page. It's fine. But Meredith's big sticking point with Mary is that she was kicked out of the house.
Yep.
She was no longer welcome there. She's implying that friends don't do what Mary did, and I was supportive of Mary when nobody else was. I'll give her that. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything else going on.
Nope.
You have been one of the few that has stood by Mary for the past 3-4 seasons, even when she wasn't on the show. You guys still had a friendship, so I'll give you that. But that has nothing to do with what transpired at the house.
So I kind of tend to think, first off, she did look directly at Meredith and say, "You can leave."
She was clearly talking to
She was
both
just
of them.
trying to get them to stop talking. and shut up.
She said, if you can't stop,
But
then
in
get
my
out.
mind, she did pick Angie over Meredith in that scene.
No one got picked. She said, if you can't shut up, then leave.
I think, yeah, but I do think that she looked directly at Meredith when she said
Hey,
leave.
who gives a shit?
Not that, look, I do think that Meredith left because she saw an opportunity to get out of it and she doesn't feel
And
like
be a
dealing with it
victim.
anymore and be a victim. Correct. But
Okay.
she has some sort of standing here. And you can spin it in a way of saying that she's picking Angie over me when I stuck by her for 4 years and Angie's a new friend.
That's fine.
That's what she should do.
Yes. Okay, fine. If you want to be her and play the
I
game.
think she's getting there.
No, she's not.
You don't think
She's
getting there?
absolutely not, because she's just saying you kicked me out of your house. It's we run the tape later.
Yeah,
That's
no, it
not
wasn't
what
like
happened.
a full-blown, get the fuck out of my house, like you're not welcome
It
here
was
anymore.
if you can't shut the fuck up, get the
Yes,
fuck out.
correct.
Yeah, which is fine. Like that, if I heard that, I'd be like, I'm going to shut up and just sit down.
Yeah.
And they keep pointing out, everyone points out throughout the episode, she took the parting gift. So you're clearly not that frazzled by this whole thing. If you're like, I'm just going to get my shit, my nice new handy dandy notebook with my name on it, and I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, you probably want a Mary parting gift.
I would love a Mary notebook. Are you shitting me? That would be awesome. But Mary's supposed to meet her at this relevant, irrelevant art gallery at some point.
Nice.
And thank you. We cut over to Mary, and this is the first inkling of what's to come later, the first foreshadowing scene that we get. She's trying to find Robert Jr. She's knocking on his door, trying to talk to him. He's not responding. It paints the picture that something's wrong. We've seen for weeks her alluding to Robert Jr. changing, not being able to communicate as well with him. We saw that scene. We've seen it multiple scenes, which now, after watching this episode, because we've talked about this a few times, where I was concerned that they were highlighting this too much if there wasn't, and I don't think anybody could have expected the scene that we got.
Yeah.
But if there wasn't that kind of moment, then I thought that this could have been a dangerous thing to do. But now looking back, I'm glad they highlighted the stuff that they did. But this was another one of those moments, and she's just saying that she's choosing to ignore him, or has been choosing to ignore him, which is important, especially for later. Up until this point, but it's reaching a point now where the concern is too much, and she's getting worried. But overall, she's got some real shit going on. Some very real shit. This is not trivial housewife stuff. This is real life implications. So she's an hour late to go see Meredith. I do think that Meredith, and I'm not going to fault her for bringing up I guess you're an hour late, because she doesn't know. I do think that when she watches these episodes, she's going to be like, fuck, that's why she was late, and I feel bad.
Did you see the clip from the Fan Fest?
No.
So Andy had gone to the Salt Lake City girls who were there, and it was Meredith, Heather, and Lisa. Heather had a pretty good answer. It was basically just, did you guys have any idea what Mary was going through while you guys were filming, while all of this was going on? They all said no. Heather's response was probably the best out of them, because how would you respond to something like that? No, I had no idea, and I just wish the best for her, and I really hope that she can get through it. You're not going to make it about yourself, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Heather didn't. Heather said pretty much that. Then they moved to Meredith, and she said, I wish that she had reached out to me so that I could have helped her. It's like,
It's not how it works.
Not really. And Lisa's was even obviously more about herself. So still not a great position to be in. And they have seen these clips. They have seen the scene itself and then went on there and said that. It's like, come on, just say you feel for her and you hope that she's doing better and you wish that you had known at the time, because maybe you could have helped.
You would have liked to have helped if you could.
You can phrase it so many different ways that doesn't make it about yourself.
Yeah, and not again putting the onus on Mary. Like, you should have reached out. It's like you're at the bottom of her list. She's worried about her son, not what Meredith Marks thinks about it. That's a really good point. But Mary ends up showing up like 40 minutes after the fact, and what bugs me throughout the whole episode is it's right there, and they bring it up. Like, multiple women bring it up. I don't agree with how Meredith got to this point of, this is out of character, something's wrong. I wonder if there's something bigger going on. She really had to do some shoddy work to get to that point by making it about herself, but you keep saying that. Like, something's wrong. So, all right, you're aware of that. You call Brooks on the phone. Brooks reiterates that to you. Is everything okay? Are you sure? And then you lean back. You try not to get further into it rather than be like, hey, because Mary shows up and you say that. But it was in a way where it's like you're trying to throw shade at her. You're like, you're not really yourself these days. Like, what's up? Instead of being a genuine friend, you've brought it up too many times. And other people on the show bring it up too many times throughout this episode for nobody to be like, time out. Shit, guys, is she good? The only person that seems to understand it later is the last person I would have thought, and that's Brittany. It was like, wait, guys, like, is something up? Because up until that point, people are speculating in a negative way, where it's like, something seems off with Mary. You all keep saying it, but nobody's going to Mary and being like, yo, let's take all the shit out of this, and like, what's up with you? So Mary ends up getting to the art gallery. It's a very quick scene. One, I don't think Mary would have time for this shit anyway, even if Robert Jr. wasn't going through what he's going through, because she doesn't do this.
Yeah.
When you get into like tit for tat, he said, she said, she's not going to buy into that whole thing. On top of the fact that Robert Jr. is going through what he's going through, she really hasn't. She's pulling no punches, because Meredith's like, I was really upset the fact that you kicked me out of your house, and it's just out of character. And she's like, out of character for me or you? Because you have severed our friendship. I was like, whoa, great. You guys are done? Like, what the fuck? She left your house?
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I thought at the same time too. And going to what Mary's shown us in the past, when she's in a good headspace, she either one, wouldn't have gone,
right,
or two, gotten there and actually had it out instead of leaving immediately. And she probably wouldn't have used as, serious conversation tones or, crazy words or
She would have said
talking
something
about
funny.
severing a friendship. She would have made like some sort of joke in there that only Mary would have gotten that would have actually dug at Meredith. I thought that Meredith, it's interesting that she's going to play this victim card
Mhm.
and then turn around and somehow put it on Mary. Like, you can play the victim card and just kind of like take a step back and say, I was really hurt. Why did you do that to me? And try to be like a wounded animal.
Sure.
But then you try to turn it on Mary and say, you're doing all of these things to me. It's like, no.
Mm-mm.
And then you still have the wherewithal to say something must be up.
That's my whole point. So you keep pointing to there being an underlying issue that you're unaware of,
Yeah.
and yet you refuse to ask her about it other than to lead off the conversation to make her feel like she's not herself. So you
Yes.
can then be like, I've had your back. You kicked me out of your house. And she's like, I didn't. I told you both to shut up or you could leave. She's like, well, I didn't feel welcome. And Meredith does this better than anybody. She is the victim of her own novel, always. She will always be the victim. Everyone's against Meredith. We see it later with the hearing aids comment,
Yeah.
which I'll save that for later for the hearing aids comment.
Yeah.
But she has this uncanny ability to really dig into being the victim. And I think she thinks it's playing much more victim-y.
Mhm.
Is that a word?
Sure
An
is
adjective?
now.
Victim-y, because the way that she talks, it's like you'd think that Mary grabbed her by the collar and dragged her out and threw her and said, get the fuck out of here, instead of talking to two people, whether you say she's looking at Meredith or not, I do not care.
Mhm.
This is not that big of a deal. You decided to leave because you saw an opening. You wanted to be the victim. Now you're pouring it on too thick. It got to the point for me where I was irritated by it, honestly.
Yeah, and honestly, how many times do we want to just yell at these people and say, when you think that there's something going on and they're acting out of character, you should understand that there's probably something going on and you should ask about it.
I'm going to keep harping on
Instead
it.
of
Yeah.
playing the victim and saying, wow, you were really mean to me, I'm going to play the victim now. You should say, wow, you were really mean to me. That was a little out of character. Do you want to talk about like what's going on in your life?
Yeah,
No, because they see an opportunity to strike and they say, whoa, you're acting out of character. Maybe I can play this up a little bit more and get a rise out of you. And then people are going to feel bad for me.
Yeah, but
That's what happens all the time.
Mary has no time for it. She's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out of here. Because
Yeah.
she's dealing with something real. And you took 2 steps towards it and 10 steps away from it, Meredith. But whatever. We get Lisa and Henry and Angie K and Electra at the aquarium, which is nice. I like a little aquarium visit. When's the last time you've been to an aquarium?
I went to the Camden Aquarium not too long ago.
How was the Camden Aquarium?
Not as good as I remembered.
Didn't
Yeah.
hold up, huh?
Nope, didn't hold up.
I used to go to the Inner Harbor one all the time on off days.
Yeah.
Because we weren't our minor.
Well, that
league
one's
teams.
good. The one down in Baltimore?
Solid.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
solid.
Plus, you could go to like Hard Rock or Krabby Dick's.
No, there was an ESPN restaurant across the street too.
Well, there used to
sick.
be the Hard Rock with all the games in it.
Yeah.
Then it turned into the ESPN bar.
Yeah, now it's
Now
just
it's
a Dave
Hard
and
Rock.
Buster's?
No, it's Hard Rock again. They took the games out.
Oh,
Because
shit.
the big guitar has always been there for
Right,
Hard Rock.
right.
But I remember that. But I would go get hammered at I think it was Krabby Dick's, and that was the place where they put the hat on you that says like mean names.
Krabby Dicks.
Krabby Dick's. You get it? We would go there.
I get it.
It would be like I got crabs at Krabby Dick's. Ha ha. But I'd get hammered there, then go to the aquarium. If you haven't been to an aquarium drunk, let me tell you. I know this is probably not the appropriate episode for this.
Maybe not.
Good time. It's a good time. Okay? Just saying. I'll leave it there.
Maybe not.
Nah, maybe not. But I'm just saying it's a good time. But anyway.
I think you should go to Hard Rock restaurants and get me a couple of glasses. Like get a Hard Rock glass from each one and bring it back for me.
Is this the Todd Starbucks thing? But I'm going to do it at Hard Rock.
Yep.
I actively avoid Hard Rock cafes and chain restaurants like that.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm like Heather Dubrow and Tamara in London. Like I don't do this touristy shit.
Like that a Hard
Only
Rock
with
cafe
Hard
is
Rocks?
touristy.
Hard Rocks and
Aren't
cheesecake.
they all the
factories.
same in every single city too?
Yeah.
Never understood that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But people go to them. Like I'll never understand being in a city like Philly with a great food scene, and tourists go to Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah.
That's
Go to the convention center first.
baffling.
Yeah.
That's weird. Go to a restaurant. Whatever. This is a whole different rant. But I love these two when they have scenes together just because of their confessionals. It just shows you the world that Lisa lives in. And I'm not saying that Angie doesn't have her own spin on things, but she's much more in touch with how we're the audience are seeing it. At least I like to think so, because in Lisa's confessional, She's like, I miss her as a friend. Like I would take all of her calls throughout the day. I'm like, she didn't call you. And I get confirmation because Angie's confessional. She's like, I would answer 100 phone calls a day. I was her confidant. I'm sure she misses me. I'm like, hell yeah. You literally just said everything she was trying to say, but put it on you. And I believe Angie over Lisa because...
Absolutely, because we've been saying that since the jump of this season, pretty much. As soon as there was a rift between the two of them and it came up, the first thing out of our mouths was, yeah, it's probably really fucking exhausting being a friend to Lisa Barlow because she probably calls you 100 times a day.
And the phone call probably takes an hour each time.
Yeah, no, I do think that we're starting to see, because I did say every episode, I felt like we were taking a step back from Angie being center snowflake. This was the first time this whole season that I've been like, okay, Angie's doing something. She's learning.
Towards the middle.
She's moving towards the middle. She's not quite there yet, but she's moving towards the middle.
Look, pal, you don't earn center snowflake in the first half of the season. You earn center snowflake in the second. It's not how you start; it's how you finish. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a condescending.
We'll see.
I don't like that at all.
I just don't know. I think it's still a goof.
Take the bitch out of your voice when you talk to me.
No.
Slap that mustache off your face. You're going to go to Amsterdam mustacheless.
Oh, no.
No, you can't go to Europe like that.
No.
I wouldn't do that. But anyway, we get the one-on-one conversation between the two of them, and they both recognize that they're off track. They both recognize that there's a big rift in their friendship. The problem is, and you knew at some point Angie was going to have to cave a little bit for this friendship to be able to move forward. But Lisa keeps saying that she's hurt and she doesn't know if she can get back to where they were, and she's upset with Angie, and this is all over the bad mom comment, quote-unquote bad mom. If you go back, no, Angie shouldn't have said, like, she just sticks her kids in front of video games. Like, it does allude to her being a neglectful parent. We've seen Lisa Barlow. I can say lots of things about her. I don't think she's a neglectful parent. I think she cares about her kids. And I don't think that Angie K thinks that she's a bad mom. I think she was venting to Heather. We've talked about this a million times now. She was venting to Heather. She went off a little bit. Heather was trying to cover her own ass because she knew it was on camera. Told Lisa preemptively, which is probably a smart move because it's probably easier to make up with Angie than it is to make up with Lisa. So I understand where Heather's coming from. The fact that it has drug on for this long is irritating to me. I'm glad that they could have moved on from this whole thing. But it's just so funny to watch Lisa's narrative on things. I defended you. I had your back. I need that from you. We've watched Angie defend you for years. We've watched her unapologetically, unconditionally have your back. Time after time. The one time she decides to stand up for herself, not be in your shadow, be her own person, check you for your bullshit, you get upset because she's not falling in line. And she even explained to you what's going on. I will no longer be your bitch. That's what she said. Not verbatim, but that's what she alluded to. We know where she stands. With Angie saying flat out to her, I need you to hear me, and you're not listening. And Lisa still doesn't listen and still doesn't get what she means by that. But they reach this, like, I don't know, they come together because they both miss each other, and they say sorry in Greek, which means fish, which is...
Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
I don't know if that's the
pronunciation. Look, here's the thing that Angie is going to be able to do a lot better than Lisa. She's able to share a part of her life, a little bit of her background, to explain how she feels and what goes on. Everything that she said in this story about her mom and everything, and how she felt neglected, and how she's seeing some of that in a lot of, her friendships growing up, that all made sense. Mm-hmm. That's all you have to do for a viewer, is just make a little bit of sense, and we'll go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I understand where you're coming from.
It can even be like half sense, but we'll find our way there.
We'll
rationalize.
And if you guys don't do it, we'll figure it out because we overthink these things. So sitting there, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Lisa finally stopped talking. You got her to listen. You told her a story, explained how you feel the way that you feel and why you're doing this, and you're trying to learn from it and make sure that you can make amends in certain friendships. But the most important thing is here, we need to redefine our friendship. Now, obviously, all of that is for naught because as we see on social media right now, they are not friends.
They're not doing well.
They are not doing very well. But right now, it's nice.
It's nice for now, sure. Not really. I don't care for when they're friends. Because for me, it's Angie taking a step back.
Yeah.
You think she's taking more steps towards center snowflake?
I just need to know, and this is, we don't get a lot of context when we have like real time fights and we're watching things from like 6 to 8 months ago. We don't really know what the straw to break the camel's back was. We don't really know how it came to pass. We don't know if Angie's getting support from people like Bronwyn. You know, we can kind of make our assumptions based on the after show and the things that we see online. But the majority of it is just Meredith and Lisa going after Angie constantly and her returning fire.
Yeah.
So we don't know who's on each other's side. We don't know where the rest of the cast lies because no one else is really talking. That's annoying to me. Either everybody get involved so that we know where you stand, or shut up and let us watch.
I agree. And I will also say I do not like Lisa and Meredith together. It bothers me. They just feed into each other's nonsense in a non-productive way.
I agree with that, actually.
And it's not enjoyable because it's false truths back and forth. And they're both like, yep, you're right. Well, you're
I
right.
didn't really like them against each other either, though. So what does that say?
Just don't talk to each other.
Just stay away.
Just don't talk to each other.
Somebody has to go to a different show.
Yeah. Let's send Lisa to... No, I don't want anybody
Keep
to
Lisa
change.
in Salt Lake. No, keep them there.
I want Meredith there, too.
See, I don't know what to do.
I don't either. That's a real conundrum we got.
Because it was really annoying when they were going against each other.
It was irritating as shit.
Neither of them would listen to each other or anybody else.
They just talk over each
Nothing changed. And then suddenly everything changed.
Mhm.
That was annoying to me.
Yeah.
Them being friends, it's also getting kind of annoying.
other. They're
I
annoying.
don't know what to do.
I don't either. I'm just going to keep talking about it probably.
Yeah.
But
All right.
quick check-in with Mary once again. More foreshadowing for what's to come later. She's saying that she hasn't talked to Robert Jr. in days and that this is not normal behavior. He used to come into a room, sit in the chair while she's getting ready, whatever. They're chit-chat about their day. So she's been noticing more and more the changes in behavior, which is important to note for everybody out there that are potentially going through this. That's the first thing you'll notice. It's just changes in behavior. But she just wants her baby back, and I'm already watching this like getting choked up. I'm like, fuck.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna get crushed.
I was
later.
too.
But we get to camp day. I just dropped my pen.
Camp day.
Camp day. Let's have some fun real quick, right? Let's have some fun at camp day. And I did not know, and I feel like I missed out. Maybe this is why I wasn't like a high-powered businessman.
Mhm.
I never went to sleepaway camp.
Nope.
So I didn't make those business connections at a young age.
Correct. Yeah.
I would love to know, and I'm sure like for like super wealthy people, this is probably true because you're going to camp with like Bill Gates' kids or like whoever. I would love to know like some random sleepaway camp. What's the one that everyone went to where Phil worked? Tecumseh.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to know like two randos at Tecumseh that now run like Fortune 500 companies. They're like, oh, it's my old camp friend. We shared a bunk together.
Yeah, I mean, when Lisa says it, I just don't believe it.
I don't either. But
So,
it's
like,
just,
there's no way that
she
you have
didn't even-
any business connects from this.
she didn't go to sleepaway camp.
Yeah, but, you know, she's still going to say she did.
She didn't.
But she's still going to say that she made business connections
No,
from
she's
a
saying
sleepaway
I
camp.
felt like I missed out culturally because I didn't go, so I missed out.
Oh, I
'Cause
see.
that's where people make friends and business connections.
I think I'm just so used to hearing her lie
Yeah.
that I heard something completely different.
But here's the thing. Let me put on my psychology hat, which is apparently just my hat like this. You're missing some great prop work on YouTube. If you
Yep.
don't follow us, subscribe. Like there's a plug.
Prop it up.
Yep, prop it up. What?
What?
Okay. I don't think that Lisa ever thinks she's lying. I think that when she's speaking, she believes whatever she's saying is her, like, that's the truth. Not just her truth, that's the truth. I think she literally spins everything that she's never wrong and truly believes it because the people closest to her, as we've seen with JB Husband Boss, he's only going to talk for so long because she's ignoring him. So she has nobody to, there's no checks and balances in Lisa Barlow's life. And if there is, i.e. Angie K, she removes them. She's like, well, you're such a bad friend to me. No, she's trying to actually be a good friend in the past episodes and tell you this is how you behave. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm done with it. Other people have said this. Multiple people have said this to Lisa Barlow, and never not once has she taken a quick second to be like, if this is the general consensus amongst a lot of people, maybe, just maybe I should look inward.
Yeah, or just understand that other people have feelings too and thoughts.
Oh, well, that's never going to happen.
You think that's like the 110th step?
That's the most wishful thinking I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, she needs to start somewhere though. Or don't.
Or don't. No, just keep
Yeah,
being
don't.
Lisa.
You know what? You're a TV character. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's working. But there's people are on the way there, and we get Angie and Mary, and I know Mary's going through it, but her shade when she's on, dude, it's just funny because she's talking about being late to go see Meredith, and she's like, well, she'd stopped renting in Park City and started renting closer to me. So she's throwing rent jokes out there, not being a homeowner. She highlights the fact that she took the parting gift. when she left, or Angie does, regardless, which I still think is really funny and also points to you clearly weren't that upset if you had time to grab your gift. Flash over to Meredith Marks. She's like, look, the self-righteousness is just, it hurts my brain. She's like, I felt like I should be the bigger person and reach out to Mary. Mary doesn't think she did anything wrong. I don't think Mary did anything wrong. You think that she got thrown out of the house, but you know you didn't. You saw an opportunity to play the victim. You're going to play it up because that's what you do. And you have somebody in the car, and this is when it got irritating to me, these two going back and forth, because you got Lisa in there. She's like, oh my God, what? She was an hour late? That's so rude. She doesn't care about you at all. You got kicked out. I felt so bad for you. I cannot with these two. I'm glad Bronwyn's in there, who's just kind of like taking it in, and I know what she does. She's just logging it for later.
She takes it in. She plays the middle. She asks a few questions just to get a bigger story on what's going on and how they feel. And then she pulls out little nuggets of information. She never really takes a side.
No,
like she's in the middle of them, or the scene that they call back to in a little bit when she's with Angie and Whitney talking about Lisa. She's always just kind of there. She stands up for the people that she thinks are her friends, so she can throw that out there. She's very aware that the camera's there, unlike Heather. And she just kind of takes what she gets, and then moves on.
And then she uses moments like this to sprinkle a little bit out there. This is why she's playing very well. She's playing the game.
I don't really think that what she did at the camp, while it was funny to watch, I don't think it was a good move.
Too
soon. Way too soon.
At the campground.
At the campground, yeah.
This moment I didn't mind.
Oh, here I was fine with.
Because she goes, I'm surprised that I was invited by Heather. And I'm also surprised that Whitney and Heather are hosting this event because Whitney had some not nice things to say about Heather. That's all you need to say. And you're right. If she had bit her tongue later on, let that fester, because you don't have to do much. That has been a recurring theme. Whitney talking shit about Heather, Heather not taking it well. You could have just said that and waited. That would have blown up eventually, but I do think that when we get to it later, because it's Bronwyn at the helm, no matter what Whitney said, Heather's going to be like, oh no, we're fine.
Yeah.
Because that
happens all the time. We're good. Yeah.
Exactly. But had it come out organically or somebody else brought that up, and I guess Lisa's the one that forced it. She's like, Bronwyn, what did she say? But if that had come up at a different time, that could have caused a big rift between Heather and Whitney.
Well, because it's only a matter of time before the two of them already create their own rift.
Absolutely.
Through their own actions, which we see at least once a season. And it's inevitable. It's going to happen in the next couple of weeks for sure. If that information came out then, yes, for sure. I don't think it needed to come out right now. I think it's just like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
I agree. I didn't mind.
You don't have to say. I think what she probably should have done is, don't say it, because we saw a little bit later, Lisa, as soon as she gets brought into it, just throws shit out there.
Oh, yeah.
That just, deflecting all over the place.
She gets in a tizzy and then just starts pointing fingers.
Yeah, and it creates chaos, which is really fun to watch on TV. But for Bronwyn's play here, all you have to say is, oh, I didn't really think that Heather and Whitney were that close. And then just leave it there. Just let it go, let people think about it, and then later you can bring up that Whitney's saying things about Heather, or Heather's saying things about Whitney, whatever way you want to go, whatever works better. Then you do it later when they're already kind of on edge.
And don't say what she said. Just be like, look, I'm not getting involved. I was surprised that you guys are hosting something together, given what Whitney said about you, and then walk away.
Yeah.
Light that bomb and walk away. She points out the hypocrisy once more. It's weird that there's this double standard with Bronwyn compared to the rest of the group. Everyone does this. We're watching this episode. People spin truths. People spin their own narratives. People do shit to other people that has been done to them in the past. That's arguably, this group is one of the most hypocritical groups in Housewives, which is saying a lot because Housewives in general are fairly hypocritical.
Yeah.
So I like that she continues to point it out. And I think maybe that has something to do with it because Heather's one of the biggest hypocrites of them all. Love Heather. Not great this season. I'm usually a Heather fan, but she does this all the time. She plays all different sides and she gets lost along the way and then ends up putting her foot in her mouth and not looking great, as we're watching literally happen this season. So I think that's probably the root of why it keeps coming down so hard on Bronwyn is because Heather's pressing it so hard. But it is interesting to watch her continue to call it out. But